As we wrap up this introduction, let's circle back to that airport scene. Emily helps Walter to his gate, making sure he's settled before heading to her own flight. They share a brief conversation, nothing profound. Just small talk about family, travel, and the little things that make life special. Walter thanks her, his eyes crinkling with a warmth that makes Emily feel like she's done something worthwhile. She walks away, unaware that Ethan is still watching from a distance, his notebook open, scribbling something down. What is he writing? Why is he so interested in her? And what does Walter know that Emily doesn't? These are the questions that'll keep you glued to this video, and I'm promising you answers that'll make this story unforgettable. But here's the kicker. Just as Emily boards her flight, she gets a strange text from an unknown number. It's short, cryptic, and it sends a shiver down her spine. "You're the one we've been looking for," it says. Who sent it? What do they want? And how does it tie to the elderly man she just helped? You're going to find out, but only if you keep watching. This is where the story takes a turn, and I'm leaving you on this cliffhanger because I know you're as curious as I am. Stick with me, because the next part is going to blow your mind. Right where we left off, Emily's heart is racing as she stares at the cryptic text on her phone. "You're the one we've been looking for." The words glow on her screen, stark against the dim hum of the airplane cabin as she settles into her seat. The airport's chaos feels like a distant memory now, but the message pulls her back into a swirl of questions. Who sent it? Was it a mistake? Or does it have something to do with Walter, the elderly man she helped just moments ago? Emily's no stranger to the occasional weird spam text, but this one feels different. Personal, almost intentional. She glances around the plane, half expecting to see someone watching her, but everyone's distracted, flipping through magazines or adjusting their earbuds. The mystery of that text is like a hook in her mind, and it's tugging at you too, isn't it? You're probably wondering what's next, how this random act of kindness at Chicago O'Hare could spiral into something so much bigger. Let's dive deeper into Emily's world, peel back the layers of Walter's story, and get a glimpse into Ethan's quiet obsession, all while keeping you on the edge of your seat. This story's about to get richer, with threads of connection weaving through lives that seem unrelated, yet somehow aren't. Stick with me, because every detail I'm sharing is building toward a revelation that'll make your heart skip a beat. Emily's not the type to jump to conclusions, but as the plane taxis down the runway, her mind is buzzing. She's always been someone who trusts her gut, and right now, her gut's telling her that helping Walter wasn't just a fleeting moment. Let's take a step back to understand who Emily is, because knowing her makes this story hit harder. She grew up in a small town in Wisconsin, raised by parents who taught her that kindness is its own reward. Her dad, a high school teacher, used to say, "You never know how far a good deed travels." Those words stuck with her, shaping her into someone who notices the little things, like a stranger's struggle or a tired cashier's forced smile. Now, at 28, she's carved out a life in Chicago, working as a graphic designer for a small marketing firm. It's not glamorous, but it's hers, and she loves the way art lets her connect with people without saying a word. Emily's life is steady, predictable, but she's got a restless streak, a quiet hunger for something more. Maybe adventure, maybe meaning. That's why she's on this flight to Seattle, not just to visit her family, but to shake off the feeling that she's stuck in a rut. When she helped Walter, it wasn't just instinct. It was her way of breaking the monotony, of feeling alive. But that text? It's like a crack in the foundation of her normal life, hinting at something bigger. You've felt that too, haven't you? That moment when something small shifts, and suddenly you're wondering if the universe is trying to tell you something. Keep watching, because Emily's about to learn just how deep this rabbit hole goes. Now let's shift to Walter, the elderly man whose trembling hands and warm smile started this whole chain of events. Walter's not just a random traveler. He's a man carrying a lifetime of stories, some joyful, some heavy with regret. At 87, he's lived through wars, recessions, and personal losses that would break most people. Born in a small Illinois farming town, Walter spent his early years working the land before moving to Chicago in the 1960s to chase a career in journalism. He was good too. His articles on civil rights and labor movements made waves, earning him respect and a few enemies. But life wasn't all headlines and bylines. Walter's greatest joy was his family. His wife, Clara, who passed a decade ago, and their daughter, Sarah, who now lives in Denver. That's where Walter was headed when Emily helped him, to spend a few weeks with Sarah and her kids. On the surface, Walter's just a sweet old man, grateful for a stranger's kindness. But there's more to him, something he's not saying. As he sat at his gate, watching Emily walk away, his eyes lingered a little too long, like he recognized something in her. Not her face but her spirit. Did he know about the text she'd receive? Does he have a connection to Ethan, the man watching from afar? These questions are swirling, and I know you're itching for answers. I'm not going to spill it all yet, but I'll give you a hint. Walter's past holds a secret that ties him to someone in this story, and it's going to make you rethink everything. Speaking of Ethan, let's pull back the curtain on this quiet, intense writer who's been watching Emily like she's a puzzle he's desperate to solve. Ethan's 32, with a lean build and eyes that seem to see through people, not just at them. He's not creepy, let me be clear. He's just driven, haunted by a loss that shaped every choice he's made. Ethan grew up in Portland, Oregon, raised by a single mom who worked 2 jobs to keep them afloat. When he was 16, he lost someone close to him. Someone whose kindness and courage left a permanent mark. That loss pushed him to write, pouring his grief into stories that resonate with anyone who's ever felt broken but hopeful. His latest book, a collection of essays about human connection, has a small but devoted following, and it's why he's traveling to New York for a signing. But Ethan's not just a writer. He's on a mission. For years, he's been searching for someone who embodies the qualities of the person he lost. Not a replacement, but a living echo, someone who proves that kind of goodness still exists. When he saw Emily helping Walter, it wasn't just a random act to him. It was a sign, a clue that she might be the one he's been looking for. But why? What's he planning to do? And does it have anything to do with that mysterious text? Ethan's notebook, the one he was scribbling in at the airport, holds some answers, but it's also raising new questions. You're probably feeling the suspense building, and that's exactly why you need to keep watching. This story's layers are peeling back, and each one's more gripping than the last. As the plane climbs into the sky, Emily tries to shake off the unease from the text, but it's not easy. She pulls out her sketchbook, doodling to calm her nerves, but her mind keeps drifting back to Walter. What if I told you that a single act of kindness at an airport, something as simple as helping an elderly stranger, could unravel a mystery so captivating, so deeply human, that you'll be glued to this video until the very last second? Picture this, a bustling airport, people rushing to gates, dragging suitcases, lost in their own worlds. Amid the chaos, a young woman stops to help an elderly man struggling with his bags. It's a moment that feels ordinary, fleeting, like something you'd see and forget. But what if that moment wasn't random at all? What if her kindness set off a chain of events that connected her to someone searching for a person exactly like her? Someone who doesn't even know she's being sought. That's the story we're diving into today, and trust me, it's going to hit you in all the feels. By the end of this video, you'll know the answer to the question burning in your mind right now. Who is looking for her, and why? So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's unravel this heartwarming, mysterious tale together. I'm talking directly to you, because this story is going to feel personal, like it's speaking to your soul. You know that feeling when you're at the airport, surrounded by strangers, and you see someone who just seems different? Maybe it's the way they carry themselves, or the way they notice things others don't. That's exactly what happened on a crisp morning at Chicago O'Hare, one of the busiest airports in the US. Our story starts with Emily, a 28-year-old graphic designer with a warm smile and a habit of helping people without expecting anything in return. She's not a saint, don't get me wrong. She's just someone who believes in doing the right thing, even when no one's watching. Emily's at the airport, heading to visit her family in Seattle, when she notices an elderly man, probably in his late 80s, struggling to keep up with the crowd. His hands tremble as he tries to balance a worn leather bag and a cane, his eyes scanning the signs with a mix of confusion and determination. Most people pass him by, too caught up in their own rush to notice. But not Emily. She stops, her heart nudging her to do something. "Sir, can I help you with that?" she asks, her voice soft but steady. The man looks up, his weathered face softening with gratitude. His name is Walter, and he's trying to catch a flight to visit his daughter. It's a small moment, but it's the spark that lights the fuse of this entire story. You're probably wondering, why does this matter? Why should you care about a random act of kindness? Stick with me, because this moment is the key to a mystery that'll keep you hooked. I'm promising you right now, if you watch until the end, you'll see how Emily's simple gesture ripples out in ways she never could have imagined. Let's talk about you for a second. Have you ever done something kind for a stranger, not because you had to, but because it just felt right? Maybe you held the door for someone, paid for a coffee, or helped carry groceries. It feels good, doesn't it? That warm glow in your chest, like you've made the world a tiny bit better. That's what Emily felt when she helped Walter. But here's the thing. Kindness has a way of coming back to you, sometimes in ways you'd never expect. As you're watching this, I want you to think about the last time you helped someone. How did it make you feel? Hold on to that feeling because this story is going to amplify it tenfold. Emily doesn't know it yet, but her decision to help Walter is about to connect her to a young man named Ethan, someone who's been searching for a woman just like her. Ethan's story is one of loss, hope, and a desperate need to find someone who embodies the qualities he holds dear. He's not looking for fame or fortune. He's looking for something deeper, something that speaks to the core of what it means to be human. I'm not going to spoil it yet, but let me ask you this. What if you were the one being sought, and you didn't even know it? What if someone out there was watching, waiting, hoping to find someone exactly like you? That's the question that's going to linger in your mind as we dive deeper into this story. I'm talking to you directly because I know you're curious, and I know you want answers. Keep watching, because I'm going to give them to you. Now, let's set the scene a bit more. Airports are like little worlds unto themselves, aren't they? They're full of stories. People saying goodbye, reuniting, or just passing through. There's a buzz in the air, a mix of excitement and stress, and it's the perfect backdrop for a story like this. Emily and Walter's interaction doesn't go unnoticed. A few people glance their way, some with faint smiles, others too distracted to care. But there's one person watching closely, someone who sees Emily's kindness and feels a spark of recognition. This person is Ethan, a 32-year-old writer who's been carrying a heavy burden for years. Ethan's at the airport too, on his way to a book signing in New York. He's not famous, but his work has touched a small, loyal group of readers who connect with his raw, emotional storytelling. Ethan's been on a quiet mission, one he doesn't talk about openly. He's searching for someone who embodies the spirit of a person he lost long ago. Someone whose kindness, courage, and humanity left a mark on his life. When he sees Emily helping Walter, something clicks. It's not just that she's kind. It's the way she listens, the way she makes Walter feel seen, not just helped. Ethan doesn't approach her. Not yet. He's cautious, unsure if she's the one he's been looking for. But he takes note, and that's where the mystery begins to thicken. You're probably itching to know more about Ethan, aren't you? What's his story? Who is he looking for, and why does Emily seem to fit the bill? I'm going to answer all of that, I promise, but you've got to stay with me until the end. This is the kind of story that rewards patience, and I know you're the kind of person who loves a good payoff. Let's zoom out for a moment and talk about why this story matters. In a world that often feels divided, where people are quick to judge or scroll past, kindness is like a rare gem. It's trending on YouTube for a reason. Search for heartwarming stories or acts of kindness, and you'll see millions of views. People are hungry for stories that remind them of the good in humanity, and that's exactly what this video is about. But it's not just a feel-good tale. There's a twist, a mystery that's going to keep you guessing. Emily's act of kindness isn't just a one-off. It's the thread that pulls together a tapestry of lives, choices, and secrets. Walter, the elderly man, isn't just a random stranger either. He's got a story of his own, one that ties into Ethan's search in ways that'll make your jaw drop. And Emily? She's about to discover that her life is more connected to others than she ever realized. I'm telling you this because I want you to feel invested. I want you to picture yourself in Emily's shoes, or maybe Ethan's, or even Walter's. This story is about the power of human connection, the way a single moment can change everything. You're here because you love stories like this. Stories that make you laugh, cry, and think. I'm speaking to you, the person who's still watching, because I know you're ready to dive deeper. You're not just a viewer. You're part of this journey with me. There was something about him. Maybe the way he talked about his daughter, or the way his hands clutched that old leather bag like it held his whole life. Meanwhile, Walter's on his own flight, staring out the window, lost in memories. He's thinking about a promise he made long ago, one he's not sure he can keep anymore. And Ethan? He's on a different plane, his notebook open, writing about Emily without even knowing her name. Their lives are like threads in a tapestry, crossing in ways they don't yet understand. But there's another layer to this story, a subplot that's just starting to emerge. Back in Chicago, someone else is watching this unfold, not in person, but through whispers and connections. This person, a woman named Lila, works at the airport as a security officer. She saw Emily and Walter, noticed Ethan's lingering gaze, and something about the scene struck her as odd. Lila's got her own story, one tied to a mistake she made years ago that cost her dearly. She's not sure why this moment at the airport matters, but she's starting to dig, asking questions that might lead her to cross paths with Emily, Walter, or Ethan. What does Lila know? How does she fit into this web? And who sent that text to Emily, pulling her into a mystery she didn't ask for? The tension's rising, and I know you're hooked. This story's about heartwarming connections, hidden secrets, and the kind of suspense that keeps you up at night. You're part of this now, and I'm not letting you go until we unravel the next piece of this puzzle together. The hum of the airplane is a steady backdrop as Emily clutches her sketchbook, her pencil hovering over a half-drawn outline of Walter's weathered face. That cryptic text, "You're the one we've been looking for," is still burning in her mind, and the more she thinks about it, the more it feels like a puzzle piece that doesn't fit. She's trying to convince herself it's nothing, maybe a prank or a wrong number, but deep down, she knows better. Her gut's screaming that her encounter with Walter at Chicago O'Hare wasn't random, and the thought sends a shiver through her. You're feeling it too, aren't you? That electric buzz of curiosity, the need to know what's happening and why Emily's simple act of kindness is pulling her into something so much bigger. As we pick up where we left off, the stakes are about to climb higher, and a twist is coming that'll make you rethink everything you thought you knew. Emily's world, Walter's secrets, Ethan's quiet obsession, and Lila's growing suspicions are all colliding, and I'm talking directly to you because I know you're invested. This story's about to take a turn that'll leave you speechless. So let's dive in and see how a heartwarming moment at an airport spirals into a mystery that's equal parts thrilling and emotional. Keep watching, because the answers you're craving are closer, but not here yet. Emily's flight lands in Seattle, and as she steps into the terminal, the weight of the text feels heavier. She checks her phone again, half hoping for another message to clarify things, but there's nothing. The airport's a blur of families reuniting and travelers rushing to baggage claim, but Emily's distracted, her eyes scanning the crowd for what? She's not even sure. That's when she notices something odd, a man in a gray hoodie, standing near the escalator, watching her. He's too far to make out his face, but the way he lingers, his head tilted slightly, makes her stomach twist. When she looks again, he's gone, swallowed by the crowd. Was he really watching her, or is she just paranoid? You know that feeling when you're not sure if you're imagining things, but your instincts are on high alert? That's where Emily is right now, and it's about to get worse. As she heads to pick up her luggage, her phone buzzes again. Another text, this time from the same unknown number. Meet me at the coffee shop near gate 12. We need to talk about Walter. Her breath catches. Walter? How does this person know about him? Her mind races. Should she ignore it, call the police, or go to the coffee shop? The temptation to find answers is overwhelming, and Emily's not the type to back away from a challenge. But here's where the stakes jump. As she hesitates, she spots Walter himself, standing near the baggage claim, talking to someone she doesn't recognize. He's supposed to be on a flight to Denver. So why is he here? You're probably as shocked as Emily, wondering what Walter's hiding and who's pulling the strings. This is the moment the story shifts, and I know you're glued to every word. Let's pull back to Walter, because his presence in Seattle is the twist that changes everything. Walter's not just a sweet old man with a cane and a leather bag. He's a man with a past that's catching up to him. Back in his journalism days, Walter uncovered stories that made powerful people nervous. One story in particular, about a shady business deal in the 1980s, forced him to make a choice. Expose the truth and risk his family's safety, or stay silent and live with the guilt. He chose silence, but it came at a cost. A promise to someone he loved, someone tied to Ethan's past. That promise is why Walter's in Seattle, not Denver. He lied to Emily about his destination, not out of malice, but because he's protecting something, or someone. When he saw Emily's kindness at O'Hare, it stirred memories of that promise, and seeing her now in Seattle feels like fate. But who's he talking to at baggage claim? The man's younger, maybe in his 40s, with a sharp suit and an intensity that makes Walter's hands tremble more than usual. Their conversation is hushed, urgent, and Walter keeps glancing around, like he's worried someone's listening. You're probably thinking, is this man connected to the texts? Is Walter in danger, or is he the one pulling Emily into something risky? I'm not going to answer that yet, but I'll tell you this. Walter's secrets are the key to this mystery, and they're about to drag Emily deeper into a web she didn't sign up for. Stick with me, because this heartwarming story is turning into a thriller you won't believe. Meanwhile, Ethan's landed in New York, but his mind's still in Chicago, replaying the moment he saw Emily help Walter. His notebook's full of scribbled thoughts about her. Not her name since he doesn't know it, but her actions, her warmth, the way she made Walter feel seen. Ethan's search for someone like Emily isn't just personal. It's tied to a project he's been working on in secret. His essays about human connection are just the surface. Beneath them is a deeper mission to honor the person he lost by finding others who share her spirit. But Ethan's not as alone in this as he thinks. Someone's been watching him too, not at the airport, but through his online presence. His book's small fanbase includes a few obsessive readers, one of whom has been sending him cryptic messages on social media, hinting at knowing more about his search than they should. Ethan's brushed it off as fan weirdness, but the latest message, received just before his flight, mentioned Chicago O'Hare. Coincidence? Maybe. But when he checks his phone in New York, there's a new message. She's in Seattle now. Don't lose her. Ethan's heart pounds. How does this person know about Emily? Is it the same person texting her? The plot's thickening, and you're right in the middle of it, feeling the suspense build. Ethan's about to make a choice that'll bring him closer to Emily, but it's going to come with risks he can't yet see. You're probably dying to know who's behind these messages, and I promise. The truth is coming, just not yet. Back in Chicago, Lila, the airport security officer, is digging deeper into what she saw at O'Hare. Her subplot's heating up, adding another layer to this tangled story. Lila's not just curious. She's driven by a need to make up for a mistake she made years ago, when she looked the other way during a security incident that cost someone their job. That guilt's why she's so thorough now. Why she noticed Ethan's lingering gaze and Walter's nervous demeanor. Using her access to airport cameras, Lila's been reviewing footage, and she's found something odd. The man in the gray hoodie Emily saw in Seattle was at O'Hare too, near Walter's gate. He's not a passenger, at least, not one on any flight manifest. Lila's instincts tell her he's connected to whatever's going on, and she started asking questions, discreetly reaching out to a contact in Seattle's airport security. But Lila's digging is drawing attention. Her supervisors already warned her about wasting time on hunches, and someone else, a shadowy figure she hasn't identified, is watching her moves. Lila's subplot is raising the stakes, tying her to Emily, Walter, and Ethan in ways she doesn't yet understand. You're probably feeling the tension, wondering how these pieces fit together. Is the man in the hoodie the key? Is Lila getting too close to the truth? This story's trending on YouTube for a reason. Search mystery stories or heartwarming twists, and you'll see why people love this kind of suspense. It's about human connection, hidden secrets, and the kind of plot twist that hits you like a lightning bolt. As Emily stands in the Seattle airport, debating whether to head to the coffee shop near Gate 12, she spots Walter again, still talking to the man in the suit. Their conversation looks heated now, and Walter's face is pale, his cane trembling in his hand. She's about to step closer when her phone buzzes with a third text. Don't trust him. Come to Gate 12 now. The him could be Walter, the man in the suit, or someone else entirely. Emily's heart races, her mind torn between fear and the need to know what's happening. She takes a step toward the coffee shop, then stops, noticing the man in the gray hoodie again, this time closer, his eyes locked on her. Before she can react, he turns and disappears into the crowd, leaving her with a sinking feeling that she's being hunted. Who's texting her? Why is Walter in Seattle? And what does Ethan's search have to do with it all? The main conflict's escalating, and this unexpected twist, Walter's lie about his destination and the mysterious man in the hoodie, has raised the stakes to a fever pitch. You're on this ride with Emily, feeling her fear and curiosity, and I know you're desperate for answers. This story's building to a climax that'll leave you stunned, but we're not there yet. Keep watching, because the next piece of this puzzle is going to change everything. Emily's heart is pounding as she stands frozen in the Seattle airport, the latest text. Don't trust him. Come to Gate 12 now. Glowing on her phone like a warning beacon. The sight of Walter, who she thought was headed to Denver, arguing with a sharply dressed man near baggage claim has her head spinning. The man in the gray hoodie, who keeps appearing and vanishing like a ghost, only deepens her unease. You're right there with her, aren't you? Feeling that mix of fear and curiosity, desperate to know who's texting her, why Walter lied, and what Ethan's search has to do with it all. This is the moment we've been building toward, the climax of a story that started with a simple act of kindness at Chicago O'Hare and spiraled into a mystery that's kept you hooked. I'm talking to you, the person who stayed with me through every twist, because I know you're ready for the answers. As we dive into the resolution, every thread, Emily's courage, Walter's secrets, Ethan's mission, and Lila's investigation, will come together in a way that'll leave you stunned. But hold on tight, because just when you think it's over, one final twist will make this story unforgettable. Let's unravel this heartwarming, thrilling tale and see how a single moment of humanity changes everything. Emily takes a deep breath, her decision made. She's not running away. She's going to the coffee shop near Gate 12 to face whoever's behind the texts. Her artist's instinct, always seeking patterns, tells her this is the only way to understand what's happening. As she weaves through the crowded terminal, her eyes dot around, half expecting the man in the gray hoodie to reappear. The coffee shop is busy, filled with travelers sipping lattes and scrolling on their phones, but one figure stands out, a woman in her 50s, sitting alone at a corner table, her eyes locked on Emily. She's unassuming, with short gray hair and a nervous smile, but there's a quiet intensity in her gaze. Emily approaches, her pulse racing, and the woman gestures for her to sit. "You're Emily, aren't you?" she says, her voice soft but urgent. "I'm Margaret. I sent the texts." Emily's mind reels. Margaret? Who is she, and how does she know her name? Margaret leans forward, her hands clasped tightly. "I saw you help Walter at O'Hare. It reminded me of someone I lost, someone who was kind like you. I've been looking for you, not just because of that moment, but because of Walter's past." Emily's about to ask what she means when Margaret slides a faded photograph across the table. It shows a young woman, maybe 20, with a warm smile, standing next to a younger Walter. "That's my sister Anna," Margaret says. "She was Walter's daughter. And she was Ethan's mother." The revelation hits like a thunderbolt, connecting Emily to Ethan and Walter in a way she never imagined. You're probably as shocked as Emily, realizing that her act of kindness has pulled her into a family's long-buried story. But there's more, and it's about to get intense. Let's backtrack to understand how this all fits. Walter's journalism career in the 1980s led him to uncover a corrupt business deal that threatened powerful people. To protect his family, he buried the story, but the guilt haunted him. Anna, his daughter, grew up to be a kind, fearless woman who inherited her father's sense of justice. She became a social worker, helping vulnerable people, but her life was cut short in a tragic accident when Ethan was 16. Walter blamed himself, believing his enemies from the past had targeted Anna to silence him for good. That's the promise he made, to honor Anna by finding others who shared her spirit. Ethan, devastated by his mother's death, took up the same mission, writing about human connection to keep her memory alive. When he saw Emily help Walter, it was like seeing Anna's kindness reborn. Margaret, Anna's older sister, had been estranged from Walter after Anna's death, blaming him for what happened. But she'd been watching Ethan from afar, following his writing, and when she saw Emily's act at O'Hare, captured on a viral airport security clip that Lila had unknowingly shared online, she knew it was a sign. Margaret's texts were her way of reaching out, not to scare Emily, but to bring her into a story of healing and redemption. The man in the gray hoodie? He's a private investigator hired by Margaret to track Emily, but his secretive approach only fueled her fear. As Emily processes this, she realizes Walter's lie about Denver was to meet Margaret in Seattle, to finally reconcile and honor Anna together. You're probably feeling the weight of this, how a single moment of kindness rippled through decades of pain. But the climax is here, and it's about to peak. Emily and Margaret's conversation is interrupted by Walter himself, who arrives at the coffee shop, his face a mix of relief and sorrow. The man in the suit from baggage claim is gone, but Walter's trembling hands tell Emily he's carrying something heavy. "I saw you, Emily," he says, his voice cracking. "You reminded me of Anna, and I knew I had to tell Margaret." The three of them sit, and Walter pours out his story. The guilt, the promise, the years of searching for redemption. Emily's overwhelmed, but she feels a strange calm, like she was meant to be here. That's when Ethan walks in. He'd gotten a tip from Margaret, who'd been messaging him too, and flew to Seattle to meet her. Seeing Emily, Ethan freezes, his notebook clutched tightly. "It's you," he whispers, his eyes wide with recognition. The moment is electric, a collision of strangers bound by one act of kindness. Ethan explains his mission, how Emily's help at O'Hare gave him hope that Anna's spirit lives on. The main conflict, Emily's fear of being hunted, Walter's guilt, Ethan's search, and Margaret's estrangement, resolves in this raw, emotional reunion. Lila's subplot ties in too. Her investigation led her to share the airport footage, which went viral, inadvertently bringing Margaret to Emily. The man in the suit? He was a lawyer, pressuring Walter to stay silent about the past, but Walter's done hiding. You're probably tearing up, feeling the power of this resolution, how kindness healed a fractured family. But there's one last twist, and it's a game changer. As they talk, Emily's phone buzzes with a final text from the unknown number. Margaret's number, she thought. But Margaret's phone is on the table, untouched. The text reads, "Anna would be proud of you all." Emily's blood runs cold. Margaret swears she didn't send it, and no one else at the table has her number. The private investigator in the gray hoodie, standing across the terminal, watches them, then slips away, his role unclear. Was it him? Or is there someone, or something, else watching, guiding this story to its end? The twist leaves you gasping, wondering if Anna's presence, her spirit, somehow orchestrated this. The story closes with Emily, Walter, Ethan, and Margaret vowing to honor Anna by sharing her story, starting a foundation for acts of kindness. Emily's life is changed. She's found purpose, a family she didn't expect, and a reason to keep sketching the world's beauty. The takeaway? Kindness isn't just a moment. It's a force that can heal, connect, and echo through time. You're part of this now, and I know you're feeling it. The awe, the warmth, the mystery. Search heartwarming stories or emotional twists on YouTube, and you'll see why this resonates. Thank you for watching, for believing in the power of human connection. Let's keep spreading kindness, because you never know whose life you'll change.